Hello, and welcome to Ex Cult Ed, the podcast where I share my experiences, thoughts, and feelings after leaving the truth, otherwise known as the 2x2 way, the fellowship, the one true way. You get the picture. My hope is that in sharing this, it will be cathartic for me and perhaps make you, dear listener, feel less alone if you've been through or are going through something similar. This is my story. One thing I've been struggling with a lot lately is grief. Grief is a very real thing, and I found that it's not just limited to the loss of people. For myself, I also experience feeling grief over lost time and lost opportunities. Sometimes it comes at me in the form of sadness and sometimes in the form of anger. The more I heal and experience, the more I struggle to not beat myself up over all the pain I could have avoided and all the time I could have been using differently. And there is a positive slant to all this, but I just wanted to start with the extreme things that I'm feeling first. I'm sad because I didn't get to experience teenagedom as a normal teenager. And look, yes, we did have other benefits from growing up the way we did. We got to go outside, we got to interact with people a lot, we got to not learn about alcohol the hard way. And yeah, I didn't blow lots of money on alcohol. I didn't get wasted and have bad hangovers every weekend. I didn't make questionable decisions due to alcohol and feeling invincible. But I also didn't learn those lessons and have the freedom to learn those lessons in the way that everyone else did. I'm angry because I didn't get the opportunity to make mistakes and learn from them when I was young. I'm angry because I'm now in my 30s and I feel so inexperienced with so many things that my peers learned in their teens. I'm upset that I didn't get to pursue dance and drumming as hobbies or career options. I didn't get to express and explore my sexuality. I didn't feel free to have sex with whoever I wanted and not feel guilty and damned to hell because of it. And yes, I'm lucky. I'm now out of the cult and I can do whatever I want to do. But some days it's really hard not to get stuck in the, I wish I had done this earlier. I'm too old to make a change. I'm overwhelmed because I'm trying to learn these things now and I should have learned them years ago. And honestly, I think the first step is to take out the should. So many people learned these things years ago, but I didn't. And there's nothing I could have done about it back then. So I can't hold myself to what I should have done and beat myself up over it. I do, but I can't. Well, I shouldn't. Well, you get what I'm trying to say. I did the best that I could in the circumstances and the environment I was in. But sometimes I just feel like I need to express my grief and my anger and my feelings of helplessness without feeling pressured to put a positive spin on it. I mean, growing up in the cult, we had to put a positive spin on everything, which is great for helping you compartmentalize and ignore the negative stuff. But it doesn't really help you to deal with and process things. So today I want to talk about and acknowledge the things that I'm grieving, while also being aware that there were many positive aspects to growing up in the cult. Being in that religion really limited our worldview, our career options, our opportunities to have fun and be normal kids, and our ability to follow whatever our drive and passions were. We were forced to put our time and energy into being the perfect children of God, and we weren't allowed to focus on ourselves and what we wanted out of this life, unless it fit with God's plan. How are we supposed to be happy in any aspect of our life if we weren't allowed to follow our passions? I was once a kid who wanted to change the world. I was so academic and I had a strong drive to be the best at everything I did. But somewhere along the line, that got stamped down. It's still there, I still have the drive, but it's hidden under layers of doubt and insecurity and regret that I need to push through. Part of me delving into things in this podcast is me trying to push through on my journey to become the person I want to be and get the most out of this life. Recently, I was speaking with a friend who's also left the cult and is now married with children, and they also said that they would have lived their life completely differently if not for the cult. They too were discouraged from pursuing their passion, which was sport. They also expressed that they would have done more partying and sleeping with people when they were younger if they could have. I was also talking with someone else close to me recently who pointed out that my views on sex and people who have sex just for fun are really negative. Sex in itself doesn't have to be a bad thing, and I'm annoyed that I've spent a lot of my life viewing my own desires as so bad, to the point that I didn't even know what I desired. There were people that I didn't date based on simple things like a tattoo or having had sex at all before in their life or whatever random thing it was that the cult didn't approve of. I feel like I lost years being a depressed housewife where I spent my days inside with no friends and no real outside contact except my husband and the meetings. I am a smart, inquisitive, and vibrant individual. I could have spent that time building a career, making lifelong friends, having fun experiences. But instead, I spent it feeling guilty, like I didn't belong, and wishing I could just be happy. I spent so long feeling unattractive because I couldn't wear things that made me feel pretty and confident. I couldn't wear my hair in ways that made me feel good. I couldn't feel sexy without feeling guilty for being superficial. Nowadays, I feel something in my chest when people talk about TV shows or movies or any pop culture reference that a normal child who grew up in my era would know, but I don't. I feel that when people talk about all their drunken teenage exploits. I feel stupid and naive and less than everybody else when they talk about all these things that I once viewed as worldly, but now am trying to see as normal. I can never hope to catch up on 34 seasons of The Simpsons. I grieve for the career I could have had and the strong, confident, sexy person I could have been. I mourn the stability I never got because everything was conditional on me being in the cult. I grieve for my sense of independence, self-confidence, and autonomy. I see teenagers dressing however they want, and I wish I could have dressed that way. I mourn for all the years I spent being reserved and shying away from physical contact. I wish I could be that person that rushes up and hugs everyone because I think that's in my nature, but it was culted out of me. I hear other women or just other people talk about all the dates they've been on and the experiences they've had, and I feel sad that I never felt confident enough to date who I wanted to, that I never knew my own worth and explored things and set boundaries and just felt comfortable being me. I'm grieving for the innocence I lost when I was a young teenager and the boy and his dad both grabbed my butt at what was supposed to be a safe holiday with friends, and then nothing was done about it in the name of keeping the peace. I grieve for the family and friends that I've lost to the cult because I'm now a bad influence. I hate that for most of my life I had to overthink every little daily choice, down to the words I spoke and the clothes I wore because of the potential eternal consequences. Every little thing was put in the context of what would God think of this. Every thought, every word, every action. And I hate that I now still overthink things and am really fighting to get out of that mindset. Most of all, I grieve not having the free will to make both good and bad decisions. I'm sad that I don't love me in the way that I should. I mourn the memories that I never got to make and the people I'll never be able to share those memories with. I'm sad that I felt like I had to behave like a 30-year-old when I was 16, and now I'm 30, I feel like a 16-year-old. I feel sad that I haven't had anything or anyone stable in my life since I was a teenager, and I'm sad that my options for the rest of my life were forced on me as a child, and the whole world wasn't open to me like it is now. I feel like I've had time and experiences stolen from me, and I don't have the time to experience them now. Now that I've gotten out, I'm experiencing this battle between feeling the grief over all the things I can do now that I couldn't do back then, and also the strong desire to do something and be something and create my own meaning in life. I don't want to fall into the trap of feeling sorry for myself and wasting more time, but I also need to notice how I'm thinking and what I'm feeling so I can figure out what things are stopping me from living my best life now. And one of them is not feeling good enough. Sometimes I get way too focused on how far behind I am in worldly experience. And I need to remind myself that I do have experience and I am worth just as much as everyone else around me. I'm just as interesting and intelligent and attractive and capable as everyone else. What I've gone through and what I think I've lost doesn't make me a weaker or less capable person. It simply makes me the person I am today. And that person is worthy of love and deserves to be happy and achieve her goals. I'm working on having a healthy relationship and making friends and addressing my physical and mental health. But I do definitely have days where I go backwards. Even just the other day, I went down to the beach and I saw all the other people sitting around and I felt so lost and like I didn't belong because I didn't get to live the same life. I had a moment of intense and overwhelming sadness come over me. My thoughts were along the lines of, look at everyone else and how put together they are. I don't know anything. How do I ever catch up? I'll never be good enough. Why am I even here? I was definitely spiraling and those were definitely not healthy thoughts. So if you're thinking those things, stop it. Easier said than done, I know. It's just, that's what people say to me, so I thought I'd try. I suppose the question is, why do I have those thoughts? Why do I feel this way? And one of the reasons is because I'm still in the process of grieving for what I perceive to have lost. For me, the cult took away my sense of agency, the feeling that I could be someone and make a difference in the world in some way. It made me feel helpless and weak and that I wasn't capable of anything on my own. It made me fearful of everything, including my own success. I feel so unworthy of love because my whole life I was told that in order to be loved, I had to behave a certain way. And when I finally stopped and said, I don't want to be that person, I was completely alone and unloved. And to me, it felt unlovable. And after years of feeling unlovable, it is so, so hard to start to love yourself, let alone accept that others might care and want to be there for you. The fact is that I do feel this grief. I know that I am capable of a lot, and I have the rest of my life to live in a way that is meaningful for me. But I also don't think I'll get anywhere unless I admit that I'm feeling this way. This doesn't mean I can't be happy now, but my grief is justified. I take solace in the thought that I'm out now and I can start to become the person I want to be, even though I've had the experiences I've had, even though I've had negative self-talk, and even though I might be a bit behind everyone else on the timeline. But I often feel like an imposter because I do all of this self-reflection and I think I've grown, and then suddenly I realize how much work there is to do. I still have such a long way to go, and I think I'll be heading there my whole life. But I also think it's important in these moments to remind myself of how far I've come. Even just leaving the cult, making new friends, experimenting with makeup, building up my self-confidence slowly, challenging myself to try new things, overcoming all of these negative feelings and thoughts that I felt for so many years. And even the ones that I haven't fully overcome yet, just not giving in to them is something to be proud of. Because that is a battle, a daily battle. I see others with their tight friendship groups and I wonder if I'll ever have that. I know that I can't have some of the friendships that I see where people are still friends with people from their school days because I wasn't allowed to participate in extracurricular activities with my school friends. I know I can't have the amazing close family that some other people have because mine has either passed away or aren't close because I've left the cult. But I also know that I have the potential to make close friends now. I have the potential to meet amazing people who care about me. And I know that I can make friends that become like family. It's hard, but it's possible. And I know that I'm not the only person out there feeling this way. And I've been thinking about it. When you're physically ill, you stay in bed and recover. You know you have to take time off because your body needs to get better. But when you're feeling grief or sadness, my tendency anyway seems to be to push it away and cover it up and just keep plodding along at life instead of just taking some time out to allow my brain and body to reset. And when you think about it, if you have the flu or a vomiting bug and you tell your friends, they offer to drop things off to you or help in any way that they can. But for some reason, for myself anyway, I feel a sense of shame to admit to my friends that I'm not doing well mentally, that I'm struggling, that maybe I'm feeling depressed right now and I need some help. In fact, just today I was feeling it a lot and I went to work and I kept randomly crying all day. I just couldn't get the negative self-talk to go away. But me just pushing through and trying to ignore it doesn't help me pull myself out of it at all. I need to take time to talk to the people close to me and do the things I enjoy and just rest and recover and reset, like you do when you have the flu. Well, I guess you're not out there doing the things you enjoy when you have the flu, but sometimes you can lie in bed and do things you enjoy, like watching a show, reading a book, other in-bed activities. The thing is though, I grieve all these things because I have an idea of who I could have been. And then I put all this pressure on myself to be everything I could have been. But this hypothetical life might not have worked out anyway. I had a customer come in today and tell me that a family member of hers, who was only 23, got in a car accident and passed away. And it just made me think, no matter how much I feel like I lost in my 20s, I'm alive now and I'm out of the cult. I'm free and I can start living my life with a different purpose now. I lived the best way I knew how back then, dealing with everything I was dealing with, including mental illness. Every experience I had still counts. My life is the accumulation of all the good and bad things that have happened until now, and they still count. They're still part of life and living. Back then, I wasn't capable of the things I'm capable of now, because I was dealing with a lot, and I've been on a long journey to recovery from that. Everything I've been through in the past has led me to who I am today, and perhaps the way to reframe it is to realize that I haven't missed out on experiences, I've just had different ones. I've lived in lots of different places. I've moved on from a way of life that wasn't for me. I've had so many weird and wacky experiences that only a very small bunch of probably equally awesome and traumatized people on this planet can relate to. And the things I didn't get to experience back then, I can experience now if I want to. I think I just have to remind myself that while I'm still breathing, it's not too late to experience something new. And I have to actually give myself time to feel the grief and stop stressing about being on a time limit and not being good enough. When I feel myself getting overwhelmed and spiraling, maybe I have to sit with that, but also remind myself that I still have a lot of life and experience and meaning left in me. I know I need to acknowledge this grief, but not dwell on it. I've been through a lot and I'm coming out the other side. And maybe just sharing my experience will help other people know that they're not alone in this either. Maybe that's part of my purpose in this life. The thing is, once you step out of something so restrictive and controlling, suddenly the whole world opens up to you. Suddenly there's all these possibilities for the future, and that is so scary. And it's hard not to look back on the past and mourn the person I could have been if not for all these circumstances. But the fact is, everyone has struggles. Life is hard. Harder for some, for sure. But if we can all take a minute just to appreciate the fact that we've come to where we are, whatever point that is in this journey, by overcoming everything else before it. And even if we are depressed right now, we're still here. We survived until now, and we still have potential to carve out our own future. And that's something to be proud of. Sometimes just getting through today is something to be proud of. In fact, that's what I'm proud of today. Our lives don't have to be what we dreamed of when we were younger. Nothing goes to plan. Maybe it's just time to create new dreams. For me, I know I really have to work on the negative self-talk, and I really need help from those around me when things pile up and get too overwhelming. I'm really thankful that I have amazing people around me that I can go to and lean on and who help pick me up when I can't pick myself up. I don't know how much time I have left, but I want to look forward to the future, and that's what I'm working on now. Just appreciating the present and what I do have and what I am working towards. And maybe I need to just set myself little goals that are achievable for me, rather than expecting to suddenly be everything I want all at once. I definitely need to surround myself with people who accept me and support me at my best and my worst, and not the fair weather friends that I had back in the cult. Which is really funny because we used to talk about fair weather friends and the world being full of them. But it turns out we were the fair weather friends. Do you know how we called each other the friends back then? We should have just called each other the fair weather friends. We're no longer the 2x2s. We are now the FFs. I know it's hard to try new things and feel good about it. For me, there's often a moment of, I don't know how this works. I'm doing it all wrong. I'll never be able to do this. I feel so silly. I look like a clown. But I am enjoying stepping out of my comfort zone, and I'm finding it empowering to try new things. I think the most important thing for me is that the people around me celebrate both my successes and my failures. And I'm really lucky that there are a few people that even when I fail, they celebrate the fact that I tried. And I think that's it. I think it's finding the little things to celebrate. Because change and growth is a slow process of unlearning and relearning. And having people there who celebrate the successes and also the failures is really important. And most of all, I need to do that for myself, which is the hardest part. Some days are filled with excitement about the new me I'm discovering, and other days it feels overwhelming and too much. And it's on those days that I need to take a step back and remind myself and find the people who remind me that I am all the good things too. I look forward to experiencing as much as I can now. I look forward to doing some more travel and making my podcast and being creative. I look forward to wearing whatever clothes I want to and working out this makeup thing and meeting people who challenge my subconscious cult-enforced views. I look forward to feeling more confident in my body and how I dress and building myself up and stepping outside of my comfort zone. I look forward to creating my own meaning in my life and building my self-worth. And I look forward to feeling as worthy, experienced, and valuable as anyone else out there. I'm excited to come more and more out of the shell the cult forced on me. And I'm so looking forward to finding my tribe in this wide world that I'm now part of. And most of all, I'm really eager to find the true me and feel comfortable and supported in that. And while I'm sad about the fact that I spent so many years trying to please everybody else and putting myself last, I realize now that I can't be the friend and the partner and the person that I want to be if I don't figure out how to make me happy. I don't want to sit around and feel sorry for myself, but I also need to acknowledge that the grief of what I lost, whether tangible or imagined, is real to me. It does hit me sometimes, and I need to find ways to process it and forgive myself for feeling it. I know I have a long way to go and a lot of work in trying to undo years of negative self-talk and negative self-schemas. But I know I'll get there slowly. I just have to be kind to myself, and I'm so thankful for the people around me who are also kind to me. I have the whole wide world ahead of me, and whatever time I have left, I'm determined to make the most of it. Even if, on some days, like today, making the most of it just looks like getting through the day. Tomorrow, I'll have a new goal. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate you. If you'd like to reach out, ask any questions, vent, say whatever you need to say, even if that's getting annoyed about something I've said, email me at exculted@gmail.com. That's exculted@gmail.com. And always remember, you can walk your own way, speak your own truth, and live your own life. Bye!